So welcome everyone to yoga here in the barn at Bonnevaux. We're in full tilt furniture assembly and moving. We're just about to open the retreat center, which is just beyond this wall, the first 23 rooms or so. And you can see these wonderful kind of choir stalls have arrived and been installed. So exciting news. So in the classes, we've been, after the summer, I started to look at two themes, the basic flexion extension movements of the spine and the standing poses in yoga. And so today, last time we were a bit more with the spine. And today I just want to spend some time with building a good basis for the standing poses. And I'm here with Sini, who's living with us. She's from Finland, and the others are all moving furniture.
Yeah, seems like that.
Yeah. So you don't mind if I demonstrate a little bit on you? Okay. Okay, but let's just, just stand on your mats. And there's many things you can do to come away from the feeling of the ideal body that you should be doing, or the feeling of looking at yourself. So there's many ways into what I've been calling nearness. And a very simple practice is to put one hand on your chest, for example, and one on the belly. That's it. And just immediately we start to reconnect. Immediately we open to another flow of information, which is not just visual. It's palpatory, tactile, haptic, and it's proprioceptive. It helps me sense myself. Then, if you soften your eyes, if you soften your vision, or even if you feel comfortable and safe, you can close them. Very quickly, you enter another world. It's not like the outside world goes away, but your inner world becomes amplified. Start to sense that we're swaying. Very often the eyes, when we look at stuff, seeing prevents you from feeling how much you actually sway all day long while you breathe, because your eyes kind of make you steady. So maybe we sense that we're swaying. We start to have an amplified sense of our weight. Maybe, these are all maybes. We notice the breath in a different way, how the breath moves in and out, how the inner containers or volumes open and close or fill and empty. And then we start to notice the way our legs actually are on the ground. Yeah, 1 minute. I'm sorry, I just have to tell these people to stop. You can come in. Yeah. So I dashed out into my outer world. So we just go back in and Frieza, just join us on this mat. Is this a good mat or should I put it a bit further back? Why don't I put it here for you? So, yeah. So the breath moves, the sense of weight, all these micro oscillations we make as we breathe and rock and regain our balance and so on. But also we start to notice how wonderfully organic and asymmetrical our body is. So it may feel like one foot is a lot lower on the ground, as if you were on a lower step, or one foot is markedly higher. You may notice rotations, how things are rotating. Maybe you notice one shoulder feels lower, your head is actually listing to the left or looking to the left. You don't need to verify this in a mirror. It doesn't matter. Just notice the rich, non-utterly symmetrical, blocky idealness of your body. It's not. It's really like a garden with many things growing, lots of irregularities and curves and changes and different textures. Okay, and then we're just going to let the head come forward, and we're just going to let the knees bend, and we're just going to let the body fold. Don't do anything special or correct, just bend. Bend and rest your elbows on your knees. And let your tail be heavy and let your head be heavy. And give yourself time to resonate and notice and sense. So you're not looking from the outside only and shaping only. You're participating, moving in a world, letting the world move you. Okay, and then we walk back up. And I come up. Let's just put our hands behind our back. Maybe one quite low down on the edge of your bum, the other one a little bit up, if that works for you. Big feet on the ground. And again, just noticing that whole back world with all its layers, and now that you're touching it. And we're just going to let the chest go up and open, and the neck lengthen, and the head and face, and the feet rooting. We're just going to open up. Don't do anything major, just open up. And as you breathe, suddenly I just felt my whole back arch a little bit more without me doing anything special. Feet, roots, opening up through the spine. And as you come back through the middle, you can put one or both hands on the front, and we're just going to fold forwards again. All the way down, huge feet, noticing the sense of weight from tail to head. Be at peace, be spacious, just don't worry about right or wrong. So many people stop exploring in a movement practice because they felt like they weren't getting it right, but we're all so different. So if my images and what I'm saying is different for you, then just acknowledge the difference. You know, there's so many different types of gardens, wet gardens and dry gardens and tropical gardens and aquatic gardens. And now we're opening up through the back. Do it in your own time. You can see what I'm doing if you want to. Every now and again, I bend and straighten the legs and making roots. So we've made two wonderful deep movements that we've been looking at since these classes started, without me telling you the correct shape and the right thing. And that's it. Come back to the middle. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So if you're good, if you step a little bit back on your mat. Yeah. And then if you walk to the edge of your mat, so you've got 1 foot on the mat and 1 foot off, that just helps you get a sense of when we step forward, we have many options. We could step forward away, obviously, abduction. We could step forward in front. Lots of people do that when they do huge standing poses. They actually put 1 foot in front of the other. okay? But then it's requiring a rotation of the pelvis, all this kind of stuff. So we're not doing that just yet. So you're going to use your mat to let you step forward in front of where the foot was. So the distances for me are as they were when I was here. You know, it doesn't need to be super precise, but I just want to prevent you from doing that. That's all. Yeah. And it does not need to be a big step at first. Put your hands on your hips. Okay. Let your weight settle on the back foot. So the yoga poses, the standing poses evolve from this two-footed pose called mountain pose, making a mountain, to the next series of poses which have to do with walking, you know? And in yoga, they're called the triangle poses. So that's what happens. I take a step. It doesn't need to be huge at first. I take a step, put my hand on my hips, and I settle onto the back foot first. And with my hands on my hips, I let myself feel this coming down to be a base from my belly button through my hips and pelvis into my feet, in particular, the heel of the back foot. So my front foot could come off the ground if it wanted. And I can feel I'm more falling through my back leg than my front leg. Then there will be another variation of poses where we're more on the front foot. So here we are like this. Okay. Watch my hands. Now, watch carefully. You have the option of being this way, right? Let's say like a squirrel with the tail up here. And you have the option of being this way, okay? More like a wolf with your tail falling down your legs. So do both. Feel the squirrel. Enjoy, you know, be like a mega super cosmic squirrel. Like huge, yeah. And then go the other way. So then it's also like a tucking under, but it's nice if you imagine your sacrum is heavy and your tail is heavy, a wolf's tail, and it's dropping down between your legs and it's tilting you that way. Okay. So if we were all in the same non-virtual room, we could look around and we would see that some of us are more like this or more able to do this. And some of us are more like this and more able to do this, okay? So just play with that, rocking, rocking. And try to feel, you don't need to get it right. Try to feel if you're more naturally this way or more naturally this way, okay? Both are beautiful. The roses and the lilies in the garden are both beautiful, both absolutely fine. Yeah. Or you can pick two carnivorous plants and you can decide what's growing in your garden. Yeah. And just see if you think you're more here or more here. Because a movement practice is also about learning what your habits are. Not to fix or change them, but to get as much range as possible. Yeah, so let's have a look. Yeah, so what's your feeling? Are you more that way or more that way? So my feeling is you're more this way, okay? You're more like that, yeah. Okay? And it matches what, remember at the end of the class last time you were saying, what's up with my shoulders? So those two match a little bit, okay? It's more like this and it's more like this, okay? Whereas
I'm definitely tasting
the other way. Yeah. So Sini and I are more this way, but you and Luke are more that way. Okay. So it's nice to know that because there are implications for the upper body, for the feet, for the range. So you see a teacher or somebody do something and you go, how come I can't do that? It's because sometimes we're different, not just because you're stupid. Okay, so we're standing. We're on the back heel. The foot is going forward. We have a sense of where we are. Yeah. You're letting yourself be on your heel. Maybe you have more squirrel's tail or more wolf's tail. So because I have a tendency to go like that, when I'm on my heel, I try to have a bit of a wolf's tail, just a bit, but I don't fix anything. I just try to be heavy. Whereas he doesn't need to because he's doing that already. Great. Now, with your hands on your hips, we're going to turn the hips completely. One way. Turn. Yeah. And we're going to turn the other way. So when you turn the hips, look, I can see on Friso's foot. When you turn the hips, if you go really far, the foot can come off the floor, right? It goes all the way down into your ankles. Yeah. 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 You're just good at keeping your feet rooted. But if you go, yeah. So in fact, this is what we don't want to do for the triangle poses. Okay. We don't want the pelvis to turn so much. What we actually want is from the feet up to this support system, we want it to stay stable and looking forward. You can see the more I turn, the more I'm doing things in my knees and ankles. Okay, what we want to do instead, hope you're all following. So from my hip bones down, I'm just steady, stable. Now put your hands on your ribs. Now we do want the ribs to turn. So play with, watch me, turning your ribs, but not your pelvis. Yes, turn the ribs, yes. And then at the end, the pelvis may give a tiny bit, so you don't need to be too strict. That's it, that's it. And then go the other way. And what was beautiful, I saw both on Sini and Friso, watch me, is that as you turned, you actually lifted, because that's what the body does. If there's no lift, everything moves together like a big sausage. If there's lift, we can separate the upper off the lower. Yes. And that will be the beginning of you starting to have shoulders that melt, Friso, and a different feeling up there. So I'm rooting through my pelvis to heels. My rib cage, elbows and arms, head, all of that lifts, and I turn towards my back foot, but I try not to move your pelvis so much, Friso. So that's it. The pelvis stays forward, and that's it. So we have a counter rotation, right? Great. And then we go the other way. It's easier when we go across with the ribs. Brilliant. And we go back. Yes, we go back. Yeah, and don't try too hard. Yeah. Either it's going to make you smile or it's going to make you fart. So you decide. You decide. Okay. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so let's add the arms. Okay, so it's very simple. So the arms actually give you the feeling of this windmill turning. I can be that way. I can be that way. I can be palms up, palms forward, or palms down. Try all the different ones. It makes the feeling different. And feel how you, as you turn, how you're kind of screwing the upper and the lower body. Like you see her t-shirt, how it's pulled, and yours. Yeah, that's it. So that's it.
Like only the arms, or
no, the arms, shoulders, chest move, but not the pelvis. Yes, you feel the difference? And when you're, look, you're good. And then it's like your arms move by themselves. You want the whole thing to move. You feel that? And then you want don't move the, yes, that's it. Good. Whee! Yeah. That's great. Yeah, and let's do it with a ha sound so that there's no possibility for constipation. Ha, ha. Yeah, and you can throw your arms. Throw, watch me. Throw. That's it. Yes, so that's it. You have a base and you're rotating the upper body. Yeah, you got it. It's great.
Feels tense though.
Huh?
Feels tense though.
Well, no, but it's because you've now done enough. So front, yeah. Let me do it with you.
Okay.
Drop your arms. Drop, 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 drop. Okay, got your base. Stay on your foot. Arms go out. I'm just going to lift your ribs. Wait. Yeah. Straighten your feet. Yeah, it's good. And we just turn. And we turn. That's it. Yeah, you were just tired because you had done it a lot. Okay, let's take a break. So now, I know we took it apart and you don't want to get all mental about it, but very often what happens with triangle poses is people see this thing, you know, and then before you know it, you have this shape that you feel like you have to get right. Let's go on the other side of the mat. This is not so helpful. What we want to get right is the base. I don't want to put my foot in front of the other one, so I step, I use the mat. I stay on my back foot. I put my hands on my hips, and I really rotate my hips, knees, ankles, you know, my whole pelvis and leg system, and just feel that. So then you know, this is not bad in itself, but it's what we don't want to do. So you know. Yeah, you know. Okay, come back. I'm on my back foot. I put my hands on my ribs, and now I'm educating myself into my roots while my branches move. So I'm on my roots. I don't care if I get it right or wrong. It's enjoyable. And I start to move the upper body, the ribs, the elbows, shoulders, arms, head. I enjoy the rotation. I enjoy the rotation, and then when I want to, I just put my arms because they amplify the sense of what I'm doing. That's what arms are for. They lift us off the pelvis. Yes, beautiful. Around and around. Yeah, and you know, it's your body. You're the expert. It's your body. You can feel your roots. Yes, I'm giving you suggestions, but I'm not your expert. You are. You know your body. You're learning about the roots. You're learning to let the upper body move separate. Yes. Let's add a Yeah.
So what does that have to do with constipation?
That's a private joke. Yeah. Because if we hold our breath and we squeeze our jaw and our wrinkles, that's a bit constipated, right? Eventually you do get a tight ass and yoga starts making you grumpy, right? But if you play a bit, once you get the principle and you play and you laugh a bit, then the body starts to change. It starts to change. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, let's take a break. Let's go back to the first side. So that way. I'm on my feet. On my back foot. Put my hands on my ribs. I turn my ribs towards my back foot, just easy. When I'm kind of on my way, I open my arms. That's it. So eventually, so we're going towards the back foot.
Oh.
That's okay. So if it's just that you put your feet differently from us, that's all. Our foot on the mat is back, but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So eventually your shoulders are turning at right angles to your pelvis, right? You think about it. Watch me. And then I'm going to stay on my back foot and I'm going to keep my spine straight and I'm just going to tilt my spine. Watch me. I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do like that. I'm going to, that's it. I'm going to stay open and I'm going to stay on my back heel and I'm going to let the spine bend straight. This is fantastic. So you're on the back heel. This is great. You're bending at your hip. And I'm just gonna pull your hair a bit. Yeah, and you're long like that. Do you feel?
Yeah.
If it's a lot, you can rest keep your front leg straight, Frieza. If it's keep this one
That's
straight,
straight,
yeah. And if it feels a lot, you can put your hand on your shin or knee. Give me a moment. There, turn. Now, I'm gonna push you more. Keep that straight. There. That's it. Now stay back. You're good. And keep open. Yes. Now I'm going to pull a bit. Yes. Great. Great. And come back. Come back. That was great. Quite strong, isn't it? Let's just swivel a little and relax. Swivel and relax. Swivel and relax. Okay, so we're going to do on the other side. Small step. You're on your back foot. Hands on your ribs. We're just going towards the back heel. So I turn towards my back heel. My pelvis to feet is not turning. My ribs to arms to head are turning. I open my arms. And then I stay back on my back hip. That's if you go forward, you'll bend your spine. You have to lean back into that back heel and hip. And then the spine is long as you bend it. Long, 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 long as you bend it. Reach back. That's great. Great. Reach back into your sit bones. Yeah. And just a little softer, because this is beautiful. You are doing good. You could turn a bit more. If you look down, your torso should line up with the mat. Yeah, you see, so you're up there. Yeah. And you can come back a little into your sit bones. Don't stay too long, Frieza, because it's a strong one for you. Great, and come back up. Come back up. Good. Good. Okay, so we're going to do a variation now with the leg bent. So I'm going to leave my back foot there. I'm going to take a slightly bigger step than I did before. And if it's helpful, if it feels helpful, you can turn the back foot out a bit so you don't feel stuck. You're going to need a bigger step because you're tall. That looks good. Then I'm going to bend this knee. So you can see, look, I have two options. I could come onto the front foot, which is what we're not doing right now. Or I can bend the front leg, but I can stay, do you see? I can stay back on that back heel. That's what we're doing. So don't come off it. Lean into the back heel, bend the front leg, put your elbow on your knee. Okay, watch my spine, watch me. If I come off my back heel or I'm not resting, do you see? I buckle because I flex to support myself. If I rest on my knee and I go back onto that back heel, do you see my bum going back? Look at my spine. Do you see? My spine starts to lengthen out. That's what you got it. So this is a great one for you because you can you feel you're coming away from doing that and you're getting longer and longer and longer. And then I just open my arm, but I look down at my big toe. That's it. Stay on your back heel. Look down at your big toe. Root through the feet. Let the process kind of unfold. So we are participating in a learning process. We're not performing ballroom dancing or gymnastic competition. I'm just going to help you do. So your tendency is to, like you said, to make that big arch. Can you feel? So I know what that feels like because I do the same. So I'm just going to help you stay a bit long, a little bit in the other direction. Yes, do you feel? So stay on that back heel and get long here. Not that way. Play with it. Do the big arch. So there. And now get long in here. Yes, but not too much. That's great. That's great. This is great. Is that comfortable?
It's a little
in the groins. Yeah.
Well, the hamstring.
Yeah,
I
but
see.
it's very good what you're doing. Probably more the adductors. Come undone before it's too late. Okay, other side of the mat. Take a step, a bit bigger than we were doing in the first sequence. Turn the foot out a bit if you need to. Then, as you bend the knee, sink back onto that back heel. Have a strong feeling of those sit bones back there. Lean on your knee. I like to put my hand on my sacrum for a minute, just so I know where I am. Yeah, just so I know where I am. I can feel. I give my spine a chance to lengthen. Yes, it's gonna, yes, so Frieza, also hamstrings. Yes, I can feel on me. So all of those back compartments and inner thigh compartments start to wake up. And then we can drop the free arm, the one that's not leaning on the knee, and open out, open, 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 oopla, open, and then look down at your big toe. That really gets your spine lining up, and it works on the neck vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae. Resting down into your heel, reaching back through your sit bones. Great. And come back. Very nice. Yeah. So your theme is to go long, which is happening now. And your theme is to explore when I'm too arched, less arched, and where the middle path for you is. Not right or wrong, just middle path.
So theme is what we should do or what we are unconsciously doing?
For you, the theme for you.
So what does theme mean?
The central idea of what I'm seeing you do now, which is lovely, but your tendency is to arch, to buckle like that, okay? So when you put your, and it was very nice, when you put your elbow and you open, watch my spine, you start to lengthen. So that would be a good theme for you to work on. Okay, let's go, what have we done? We've done both. So let's go back to the first side. Take a step, it's a bigger step. I turn my foot out. I bend the knee, I rest. You can play with different sizes of step. It's nice to feel all the possibilities. Okay, all good. My arm is hanging. So then I open up. Yeah. So Sini and I are trying not to arch. That's great, Frieza. We're trying not to arch too much. So the front and the back are talking to each other, and Frieza is trying to get a longer spine. Now watch me. You have to watch for a minute. So from here, I'm going to reach into my heel and I'm going to bring the arm over. So I open this whole line of the body. Open and try to turn your armpit to the sky. Try, that's the direction. Keep going. You can look at the sky, you can look at your big toe. Yeah, and then we come back. Good. Good. Okay, let's see on the other side. I'm standing, dropping into my roots, the heel of the foot that stays behind. I take a nice big step, turn out a little, accommodate as best as feels right to me. As the knee bends, I wake up my back sit bone. I drop my elbow. Yeah, feel. Yeah, but you can put your hand on your back just to feel like Sini if you're arching or not. So you can play with it. You're not fixing or correcting bad things. You're playing with a range, becoming aware of a range. Then I open out. I open the whole thing out. Huge feet and heels, long through the head. And then I open the side of the body. I open, I open, I open. And I let the armpit turn towards the sky. Breath. Okay, let's just make this movement just to balance things out a bit. Hands and knees. And we're just going to sail up. Keep the knees bent at first. Be way up on your toes. Take your socks off, Frieza, and get really up. So don't focus on straightening the legs. Focus on being high up on your bended big toes, feet toes, and sit bones pointing more and more to the sky. And you just let your spine hang off of all of that. Get onto the big toe as much as you can. Let the line from the big toe heel right up to the sit bone. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And then come down. You can do it again if you want to, and then just have a break. Okay. Just your way, do it your way that's comfortable for you. Coming back to this primary reality, it's not the first or the most important, because everything's important in our embodiment, but the reality that we're weighted beings. I say it like that because I don't want to say grounded, because grounded starts being a judgment. Oh, you're grounded, or you're not grounded, or oh, I don't get it. Everyone's grounding in yoga. What does it mean? So I don't mean it like that. It's just that we are all weighted. And we experience it differently, and we have different content and stories around it, and we like it and we don't like it, but we do not fly away. We don't fall through the earth. We're on it. We're on it. And we've been in this incredible process of articulating our weightedness from being in the womb, where our weightedness was carried by the mother, to being out of the womb, where our weightedness in the beginning is passed between loved ones, the dad, the mom, the grandparents, and so on, the brother, the sister. And slowly we begin to have a lower weight area, an upper weight area, which is we've been playing with now, and a back weight area. And so we begin to make these primary articulations, the primary joints, the first one being up, down, the first one being this thing we do in the standing poses. We root down and we lift up. This creates the basis for a diaphragm with its central tendon down and its dome up, and the basis for breathing in and breathing out. And it's so helpful for me to go into the garden that way, rather than looking at the shapes and ideas and how to breathe and the correct way and all of that. No, we're all one weightedness, and we start to articulate that weightedness as we develop into adulthood. We have up and down and front and back and side to side, and eventually me and you, inside and outside. So we become this rich embodied reality. And then we can name the parts. We can say bones and muscles and arm and leg. So even when you're on the floor doing child pose, you have the opportunity to be looking at yourself, or to be in the waterfall of your weightedness. Really to feel, how are the legs folding? How am I resting on my belly? How are my arms dropping off to the ground? What's happening at the shoulder complex? or inside in the plural, in the lung complex. What happens? Where does it feel able and unable? All of the richness of that, not the right and wrong. The richness of that. And noticing, when you notice, wow, the hip on the right side folds so much more than the left. And then you don't force it. Often we injure ourselves because we're forcing a symmetry which never was meant to be. But when we allow ourselves to notice the difference and we're finding balance in that, then for me, the garden is alive. You know? The garden is alive and the right plant is growing in the right place. Plants that need sun are in the sun and plants that need shade are in the shade. Okay, I'm done with the gardening bit. So come on, come back up. Come back up to standing. Big feet, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up.
Sun gets on my face.
Yeah, why don't you just move your mat this way, I would say. Does it work?
No.
Why don't you
This way.
come this way? Yeah, Frieza, you come more this way. Tell me when you're ready. Better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just gonna let's start with the right foot on the mat. The left foot steps forward, small step. I'm gonna let the lower part root as I open the upper part towards the back foot, and then the front foot. I rotate. Yeah. Then I take a bigger step. I bend the knee. I go back onto my back heel. So this is all the things we do. And I open up. I open up. I look down at the big toe. I'm allowing the whole pelvic floor and all those deep muscles of the upper leg to lengthen and wake up. And then I open my arms. I open up the whole armpit to the sky moment. Yeah. And then I come back. The other side. My left foot is on the mat. I take a step. Yeah. Rooting, stay on your back heel. If you need to remind yourself that it's the ribs, not the pelvis that turn, you can hold your ribs. I turn, rooting into the heels of the pose. My spine lengthens, wakes up, becomes alive, becomes enlightened as I breathe in gravity. And I go the other way, all the way around. Yeah, feel what's possible. Great, then I take a bigger step. I bend at the knee. Rooting back. So take your time, take your time to root so that you can lengthen. Yeah, you want to have roots so you have wings. You want to have wings so you find your roots. The more we are between ground and sky, the less we are making selfies of ourselves and watching. The more we're just rooting and flying, opening the armpit to the sky, letting that whole world open up. And then it's for you to turn the armpit skyward as much as you can, which really means the whole torso turning. Great, and coming back. Yeah. Okay, so if we make a lunge, so you're on your hands and knees. You want to get your front knee. So if it bothers your knee, put something soft under the knee, but you want to get the front knee over the front heel. I find it very helpful to do this. I touch the upper ankle area, which very often is quite asleep. And I just move my lower leg over the ankle area. I just move, then I tuck my back foot toe under. So I'm building a wonderful feeling that my front foot is alive and there. Great. Then I let my heel come maybe just a little in front of my knee, sorry, my knee, a little in front of my heel. You don't have to go miles at first. Then I've got my fingertips on the ground. My other hand can be on the ground, or it can be like this. Huge front foot. Then touch with your hand, your breastbone, so that you have a very clear feeling of going down into that back knee, up through the inner thigh and the psoas muscle, which clambers up the front of your spine, imagining that it's becoming lungs and breastbone. And so you're growing that way. You're growing that way as you grow that way. Yeah. Adjust as you need. Yeah. And then we're just going to let the arm that's holding the ground, now that we are resting on the knee, we're just going to let that arm go. And it's like an extension of your leg. So it opens into this diagonal. Roots. Yeah, and open up your gaze. See into the distance. See behind your head. You are being regarded from all sides. Yes, long. Feel the sense of weight inside. And come back down. Great, let's do the other side. Step. So by moving over that front foot, you help it to get mapped in your inner maps. Yeah, feeling the ankle, alive, huge over the heel, huge into the toes. Doing as much as you need. Don't irritate the kneecap of the back leg. Then the elbow. Lots of, you can go back sometimes with that back knee if you realize you have more room. That's it. And then lots of length and a long diagonal. Long diagonal. So then those of you where the knee can go more and more forward, go ahead, but stay in this variation where the heel of the front foot is firmly rooted on the ground. Don't lift it up. Lots of length, lots of length. And come on down. Okay, first side again, big step. Awakening the foot. Rooting through that heel of the front foot, getting the back knee in the right place. It's not helpful if you're slightly in the splits pose with the knee behind the heel. This is not helpful for right now. You want to be above or slightly forward, whatever works for your body. Okay, huge foot, reaching back with the back knee. Yeah. Now we're going to put this hand is going to stay on the floor. I use my fingertips. The elbow that was at the knee, I put the hand on the knee. I push the knee so it doesn't go out. I keep it pointing over the big toe, but I turn my torso, watch me, towards my leg. I rotate the whole body towards the leg. When I'm in there, if it feels okay, you can open the arm up. Open up, get long through the neck. That's it. And come back. And this time we put the same arm on the inside of the front leg. I push the arm and the leg together and I open up this way. And I look down at the big toe at first, so I know where I am. And then if you want to look out or up, you want to drop more into the pose, you want to arch your back more or less, you can play with all of that. And come back. And let's just go up. Let's just go bottoms up for a moment. Get way up on your toes. On the big toe, keep the knees bent. Huge hands. Flying up. Flying up. Very nice.
Don't straighten the knees or put the heels on the floor just yet, so that your pelvis is free to let your spine drop off. You can do that when you're practicing. Once you feel free, then you can straighten the legs and start to reach back with the heels. But you don't want to lose the feeling that your squirrel's tail is a free one. And we come down. So we need to bring, I think, the left foot forward, rooting onto that front foot, fingertips, hand on the knee. Hand keeps the knee pointing over the foot as you lengthen and turn your torso. Lengthen and turn. You can look down at the big toe. That's great for the neck. And then let the arm go up if it's possible. Lengthen and open. And then we come back. Put the same side arm on the inside. Let them press together, adjust as the body opens up. Yeah. The reason I stay on my fingertips is so I'm not stuck down. I want the upper body to be free to lift, and then I open up. Yeah, good. And I open, and I keep opening, lengthening and opening. And I come back. Wonderful. Huge hands. Take a moment just to remember the sense of weight. Let the eyes soften. Let the tendency to shape soften as we fly up. Huge toes. Be on the hammer ball of the big toe. Don't be off, like, see what I'm doing? Don't be off on the little toe. Be on the big toe, because you will feel a direct pathway to your sit bone. And in fact, in this position, you are actually, the more you're clear about your big toe, and the more you have a squirrel's tail, the more you're letting the space between your coccyx and your sit bone wake up and become unjunglified. You're opening up that space, which is so important for health in the back. Sit bones are flying up and away from each other, and your squirrel tail in the middle is separating all that jungle between coccyx and sit bone. You know, but you have to imagine that. You have to imagine that. You have to imagine that. And then come down. How are we doing? All right. Quite strong, no? Yeah. How are you? Good. Okay, we're going to do a similar thing, but this time with the forearms on the ground. So elbows on the floor. And just take a moment. You can let your palms sort of face up a bit. So the focus is really on the elbows. Just take a moment to really pour your weight into your elbows. Like we did with the ankle, if you move around a bit, you amplify what you're doing. If you get too still and eventually even stop breathing, then you're just thinking. So I'm moving, and as I move, I learn. And as I learn, I start to have a world. Yeah. And elbows. Okay, so you can be palms up or palms down or thumbs up, whatever works for you. Don't force it in the beginning. Curl your toes under. Main thing is to be on your elbows, not to have your palms flat on the ground in the first instance. Main thing is to have rooting elbows. Curl your toes under. Root the elbows, don't uproot them. Drop into your elbows. Breathe. Relax your anus for world peace. Do it consciously. Do it for the whole world. And up you go. You are one of the great dirigibles of world peace. Flying up over the world, announcing that it is possible not to be tight-assed and to judge everybody else and to be a complete pain. It's possible. And it's such a joy to know that that is possible as your bum flies up over the world, your big toes, your elbows. This is a fantastic, that looks great, both of you. You can see your different patterns in your back. So, yeah. Yeah, so look, you're doing great. Bend your knees a bit more. Now, stay on your toes. Stick your feet out a little more. Yeah, like that. That's good. Now, just drop here. Don't try too hard. You're doing great. You see that? Keep the knees bent. And from your elbows, push up a bit. That's it. Don't do more. Don't do more. It's great. Just let this drop. Yeah. You're good. Yeah. You don't need the arch. You see, you were doing great. You don't need to arch. Yes. You feel that? That's great. Great. And coming down. And coming down. And it's up to you. We're just closing the class, and we're going to meditate here. So you guys are welcome to meditate at home. I mean, we won't be online, but if you want to join us, but just either fold forward like this, like we did before, or roll over and lie on your back. Fold forward, or roll over and lie on your back. Legs bent or straight, arms wide or not. A little bit of support under the head if that's helpful. And just let the sense of weight, the sense of space around you, sense of volume inside you, the sense that I'm contained and safe. My skin is all around me. And the breath is moving me. I'm breathing, but it's almost like I'm actually being breathed as well. And I let the weightedness happen more and more as I lie in this waterfall of gravity. Breath, the joy of moving. If some of us live with pain, day in and day out, then all the ways that we're learning to be compassionate, to not block it, to welcome it. And just remembering that the yoga, the physical part of the yoga, is not an end in itself. Our bodies are not an end in themselves. We actually are all one body. We share a world. And we are capable of profound stillness and profound silence, which simplifies us. And that's what the real goal is. We know that from the sutras of Patanjali, the first sutra being Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the stilling of the movements of the mind, the settling into silence. And then the great mystery of how profoundly deep and silent our world is, and how we are, and how our neighbor is. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, you two, for the great yoga. And thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Bye.